I've been married to my wife for 12 years, and we have 3 kids together. We live a wonderful life. Our sex life is quite typical, but our otherwise joyful life lacks a bit of fire. I adore my wife, and I don't have any doubts about her. Recently, though, we've noticed the spark between us has dimmed. I've spent many hours deeply thinking about how to fix it. Is she attractive? Absolutely. More than I can even express. Men are crazy about Karen, everything about her is sexy. Yet somehow, we can't seem to reignite that spark. We're both just so busy being parents, working, and handling life. We have friends of the opposite sex, but not in a way where we'd want to pursue anything sexual with them. I've watched Karen flirt and tease other men at parties. Eventually, I brought it up, and it turned out she felt the same way but didn't know how to fix things either. We talked about it more and more, but we weren't getting anywhere. Finally, I told her I found it sexy when she flirted with other men. She was shocked and a little offended at first. Several days passed before she brought it up again, and we had a deeper conversation about it. No, I didn't have any desire to flirt with other women, but I was undeniably turned on when she flirted or when men flirted with her. What if they touched her? I didn't know, I had never seen another man touch her. The more we talked, the more excited I felt, and she became curious about my feelings. Our sex life got a little better as we discussed things further. She asked more questions, and we started exploring these ideas on a deeper level. Would I be turned on if she went to bars alone? Yes, probably. Could I stay home and let her do that, or would I need to be there to watch? I wasn't sure, but the thought of waiting for her to come home left me feeling both excited and empty. We discussed what would happen if she came home before midnight. Would I be disappointed? Probably not, but maybe if it were around 2 a.m., I'd be more excited. Eventually, I admitted I'd probably want her to stay out until the morning. But then she said, "Sweetheart, if I come home in the morning, it means I'd have slept with him." I told her I knew that. "Would you really want that to happen?" she asked. I wasn't sure, but I thought so. Deep down, I didn't believe Karen would actually do it. She's only ever been with me, and she was raised very strictly. We waited until after we were married to be together, and I wasn't sure if that was part of the issue. Maybe she couldn't fully let herself go. As we dove deeper into my fantasies, I opened up more and more. I told her I could see her actually dating other men. "Do you mean as friends or for sex?" she asked. "Sexually, for fun," I responded. "Really, you'd let me do that?" "Yes, I think so." She wanted to know what else excited me, so I admitted, "You and men of color." "Do you mean as friends?" she asked. "I have clients who are men of color, and I work with them." "Yes, I know," I said, "but no, I mean sexually." She asked if anything had ever happened with one of her clients. "Yes," she confessed. "One of the bad ones?" I asked. "Yes, one of the very bad ones," she replied. I asked if she had reported him, and she said she hadn't. Karen works in social services, dealing with young people who are often in trouble. She counsels some very dangerous individuals, most of whom are men of color. I asked if he had touched her. She said yes, just once at first, but admitted that it had happened again a few weeks ago and several times since. He had fondled her through her clothes. More than that? Yes, much more. Has he ked you yet? I asked. No, not yet, but he plans to, she said. He wants me as his white married B*TCH, as he calls me. My God, Karen, that's so sexy. How old is he? I asked. She said he was 18, one of those crazy young guys from a violent gang, and he scared her. He had a record, but it was cleared when he turned 18. He claimed he'd killed 16 people, mostly other gang members, since he was 15. I asked if she believed him, and she said yes. He also claimed he had killed 7 people for his lawyer, 2 husbands and 5 wives. How far has he gone with you? I asked. Karen explained that they'd been meeting in her office for 6 months, and 3 months ago, he grabbed and kissed her. She tried to resist but eventually gave in, and he fondled her over her clothes. Over the last 2 months, things escalated. He had her breasts out, and he fingered her. This month, he said he would have her and make her his. How does that make you feel? I asked. She wasn't sure, frightened, excited, and unsure all at once. Her next meeting with him was the following day, Thursday night, at 8 p.m. I asked if she'd be late, and she responded, "Oh God, Daniel, he plans to make me his B*TCH. I could tell she was excited but also uncertain. Do you really want to stop him? I asked. I'm not sure, she replied. That night, we made love, and it was intense and incredible. The next day, everything seemed normal, and we went to work as usual. I got home at around 5 p.m. and started dinner. Karen came home about an hour later, and we ate together. She went upstairs to freshen up for her 8 p.m. meeting. 20 minutes later, she came down wearing a short skirt and a loose top, with her breasts clearly free underneath. She leaned down to kiss me, and as she grabbed my crotch, she asked, "You want him to have me, don't you?" Before I could answer, she added, "He said his lawyer would have me tonight too, and maybe some of his crew. Are you still okay with me going?" She kissed me again and smiled. "I may not be home until morning," she said, then walked out the door. I heard her car start and leave for her office. She had told me that after meeting with him, he planned to take her to his lawyer's house, where she would become his. After he finished with her, his lawyer would have her, and possibly some of his crew would enjoy her too. Time seemed to fly by as I watched the clock, waiting. I could see she was nearly at her office, and then, when I glanced again, I realized she was already there with him. As the hours slipped by and she didn't return, I knew my wife was being transformed into someone different. She didn't come back until the following afternoon. When she did, she rushed into my arms. "Oh God, your wife is now a __. So he did __, you?" I asked. "Yes, he's claimed me as his __. He's screwed me 4 times already, and his fat lawyer twice, plus some of his crew have had me too." "How many of them so far?" I asked. "Only 6, but he says there are plenty more who will soon," she replied. "When do you have to meet him again?" I asked. "I have to go back to the office tonight to __, him and his fat lawyer." "You don't like him, do you?" "No, he's slimy, and Jock knows I don't like him. He tells me my __, will be his lawyer's anytime he wants. He's told me he wants me with him every day." I knew this was Jock's way of breaking her to his will and possibly a form of payment to the lawyer. "What's his lawyer's name?" I asked. "Joseph Banker. His office is down by the court. I know him. He was a couple of years behind me in college. Short, chubby guy, thinning hair on top." "That's him," she confirmed. "He has a foxy wife, completely opposite of me. Blonde, tall, thin, small breasts, slim hips." "How do you know all that?" I asked. "I saw her once, getting intimate with 2 guys at a college party. Jock __, her all the time. Karen went to her office that night and didn't get home until after 4 a.m. When she did, we talked before making wild, passionate love like crazy lovers. My wife told me she'd had sex with both Jock and his lawyer that night. Jock had arranged for Karen to have a new part-time job working for his lawyer, and he told her to give herself to Mr. Banker whenever he wanted her. He even said, 'I want Joseph's big rod in me 3 or 4 times a day.' Then Karen told me something that scared me to death. I overheard Jock and Mr. Banker talking about his wife. They thought I was asleep, but I wasn't. He told Jock he wanted her killed this week. They planned to rape her, slit her throat, and leave her body in an alley. Joachim wants me to be his alibi. I'm supposed to spend the night with him and tell the police I was in bed with him the whole time." "You heard them plan her murder?" I asked, horrified. "Yes," she replied. "Is there any way we can stop it?" I asked. "I could try, but it would put you in danger," she answered. Several days passed, and Karen was spending half her time at Joseph's office, naked with him. On the 4th night, I asked if she had heard any more. "All I know is that I'm supposed to spend the whole day and night at Mr. Banker's house tomorrow," she said. "So you're afraid it'll happen tomorrow?" I asked. "Yes, I actually think they're going to go through with it. And when the police show up at his house, I'll have to tell them I was in bed with him, as his lover, the entire time." "You just have to tell the truth," I said. I know, but I also have to admit that as a married woman, I'm his, she said. Baby, you need to do what you have to, but they'll likely come and question you about it. Yes, I know, she said, and all I can say is that I've been working for him. You're going out of town for work tomorrow, right? I'll go to his place when you leave so it looks like we're separated. We both left at the same time the next morning, me to the airport, Karen to Banker's house. I flew back the following morning and went straight home. When I arrived, no one was there. Around noon, the police pulled up, and I was surprised by their visit. In that moment, I realized he might have actually had his wife killed and used my wife as his alibi through their sexual relationship. It dawned on me that he'd probably need to maintain a long-term relationship with Karen to make the story stick, something I hadn't anticipated. The police knocked on the door. Yes, officers, what can I do for you? I asked. Mr. Short, do you know where your wife is right now? One of them asked. Karen has been working for Mr. Banker for a few weeks now. My guess is she's at work. Is she all right? I asked. Did you know your wife is having a sexual relationship with Mr. Banker? They inquired. No, I didn't, but she has been spending a lot of time there, I replied. How do you know they're involved sexually? I asked. We interviewed them this morning. His wife was found dead in an alley downtown, and we always look at the husband first. He's been in bed with your wife for most of the past 24 hours. She confirmed it. They left at the same time yesterday morning. Karen went to his house, and you to the airport. That's right, I said. Your wife says she was naked in bed with Mr. Banker by 9 a.m. and stayed naked the entire day and was still naked this morning when we arrived, they said. My God, I hope you find the killer, officers, I replied. The two uniformed officers left, and I unpacked from my trip. Karen got home about half an hour later. My God, Daniel, they really did it. Some of Jock's crew. I heard them talking about it on the phone before Joachim came over to screw me. I woke up around 2 a.m., and he was talking to Joachim. They raped her. His crew. Then I think Jock cut her throat. Yes, I think so, I said, trying to process the horror. He was so excited sexually, and he kept fondling my breasts and running his hands up around my throat. So what happens now? I asked. I have to go back to Joseph's place for a while, to make it look like we're split up and that he and I are together, she said. I figured as much. Do you have any idea how long? I asked. They said it depends on how long the police keep looking into it. Maybe 6 months. So you're going to have to spend 6 months in this scumbag's bed while it cools down? I asked, incredulous. Yes, Daniel. He wants me to be his wife. That's why he had her killed. He told you he had his wife killed? I asked in shock. Yes, after the police left this morning, he took me to bed. While he was pleasuring me, he whispered that he had Joachim kill her so I could become his. This is bad, very bad. He's made you as guilty as they are now in the murder. Now you have to help cover it all up. How are we going to get out of this?